The views and opinions expressed in this podcast do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of Acuma, its board of directors, its management staff, or its members. The podcast discussion presented is conversational in nature and for general information only.
Hello and welcome to Acuma's On Point Podcast, a series focused on sharing the stories of people who are making a positive impact in the credit union mortgage industry. I'm your host, Peter Benjamin. Several weeks ago, I had the pleasure of sitting down with Dr. Bruce Lund and Nicole Herrick with HomeBot. We had a great conversation about the current market and motivating your staff to get out there and build relationships in difficult times. We have a great episode. We're really excited to share this one with you. But before we transition to the episode, let's get a quick update from Justin on everything that's happening over at Acuma. Justin, what's going on, man?
Hey, Peter, how's it going?
Living the dream.
Yeah, I know the feeling. So this year it's been super busy, lots of fun, lots of great content, great speakers, and just overall great networking.
It's been awesome.
Yeah, from our first workshop back in March to our regional summits in April, there's been so much collaboration and sharing of ideas. For me, it's the first time I've got to see it, and it's been really amazing to see. Our virtual programming has been going on since the beginning of January, nonstop content, nonstop great sessions. We have our fast track and inside tracks coming out at different times. And so if you're ever interested in just checking out one of those, head over to the website to stay up to date with what's going on. Our young professional network is booming. It's great to see all the young professionals come together, share ideas, and continue to really build their professional networks. Next week, we're heading out to Aurora, Colorado for our second Acuma Regional Summit.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I can't wait. I've never been to Aurora, Colorado, and the only thing I keep dreaming about at this point is like White Peak Mountains. I don't know, something about it.
You'll see them, man. You'll see them.
Yeah. This event's really for credit union members and non-members only. It's a great opportunity for them to come together and share their successes and discuss obstacles that they're facing in the credit union and mortgage industry.
Yep.
In June, we have our second workshop, which I think everyone's really excited for. It's in Louisville, Kentucky. It's from June 13th through the 14th.
Yep. That's actually our last in-person event for the first half of the year, right?
Yeah.
Take a little break after that.
Yeah, we get just a little break. Everybody, we get to all enjoy our kids and our families for the summer. But if you didn't make it out to our first workshop in Dallas, Texas, then you don't want to miss this one. There was so much great information shared from our speakers and the wide array of sessions. There was truly something for everyone. Registration's open for the Louisville workshop now, so head over to the Acuma website to get started. And then lastly, we have our annual conference happening from October 1st through the 4th in National Harbor, Maryland. We cannot wait to see all of you come out and make your mark with us. Registration is scheduled to open early June.
Yep. Awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Thank you.
Of course. Hey, without further ado, again, I'd like to share with you our recording of the Acuma's On Point podcast with Dr. Bruce Lund and Nicole Herrick with HomeBot. We hope you enjoy. Nicole, how are you today?
Good. Peter, how are you?
Awesome. Say, Nicole, thank you very much for being here today and of course, sponsoring today's podcast. I love HomeBot, big fan of what you're doing over there. Happy to that you're joining us on today's episode. Now, one, because, again, it's over the past couple of weeks, we gotten to know each other, appreciate your support of Acuma and our community. But also you have a pretty long background within the credit union industry, which I appreciate. But what everyone wants to know is what's happening over at HomeBot? What's the latest and greatest that you can tell us?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we do a lot over at HomeBot. We speak to a lot of different pieces, especially in the credit union space. We're an engagement tool, of course. We are tailor-made for mortgage lenders and agents, and we're driving those conversations, especially in a market like today's. We have a very unique way to speak to member engagement, which I think is very relevant today. I think keeping our members is very important. Yeah, for sure.
Okay. I love it. So I appreciate you being here, but let's bring on our guru, our subject matter expert, Dr. Bruce. What's up, Doc? How you doing?
What's going on, Peter? Always good to spend time with you. It's funny when I hear that word guru, I always think about the Netflix documentary with Tony Robbins, I'm not your guru, Peter. I'm not your guru. So if you get a chance, go watch that.
That's right. I'm not familiar with it, but note to self.
Okay.
Go watch it. All right. Excellent. So, Dr. Bruce, we've talked about this, quite a bit. We are in the middle of interesting times. It's an interesting market. We often hear that, volume is down, idle hands are a devil's playground. We always hear that stuff, right? So today we really want to focus on, this topic, how as leaders do we motivate our staff in today's market and really motivate them and get them out there to build relationships in difficult times. So, I know you're an expert on this. I know you're passionate about this topic. Please, let's share some insights. Let's have a conversation around this. Just really getting our teams off their butts and getting them out there selling. So let's focus on that. Go.
So Peter, it's funny because we talk about like the new normal, right? Like the new normal in the mortgage space, specifically credit union, loan officers out there, no matter what your title is, there is no normal that I've learned in the mortgage banking space. You guys have the highest and highs, I feel like, and the lowest of lows. Very rarely are we just cruising along on cruise control and it's just smooth sailing. And so I think it all starts there. At the end of the day, I'm a big habits person. I'm known as the 5 habits of highly effective salespeople. Right. I've delivered that message on some of the biggest stages, including Acuma. But at the end of the day, in my opinion, it really is a matter of going out there and just staying consistent and true to the activities that we know we should be doing. So it doesn't matter the external variables, the external environments that we're in, right? We could have the highest of highs, like I said earlier, right? Like interest rates are low. We have all this incoming demand. Like in my opinion, it really shouldn't matter. Every single day we're waking up and we're chasing our potential. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I've learned in my own business when I'm constantly out there trying to inspire or motivate, like you had said earlier for all of our leaders out there. All I can do as a leader is wake up and chase my potential every single day. And along the way, I hope that I inspire others to go reach theirs. So I think that's a big part of this is just understanding there is no quote unquote normal in the mortgage banking space. All we can do every day, all day is go out there and just try to chase our potential. Now, a big part of that, obviously, like you're saying, Peter, is going out there and developing relationships and nurturing those relationships. So we want to constantly add new relationships into the fold, and we want to engage with past ongoing relationships. So Peter, don't wind me up, man. Once you wind me up,
no.
I'm going to turn it back over to you.
That's why I have you here. I want to get you excited. I want to get you fired up. But it's so. Coming back, right? It's not that simple, right? It's, loan officers at probably at this point, thinking back to 2022, right? In 2022, we had, we'll say that I'm just going to make it easy math. First quarter, good first quarter. And then really things went from good or from great to good to meh to, oh man, I can't sell a loan to save my life, right? Now, so they've gone through months of tough times, lean times, low volume. It looks like interest rates, here we are, interest rates are averaging in about the 6s. They're dipping their toes in the 5s in some cases, right? It's not all about interest rates, but how do you get them reinvigorated? Let's get that. You have a team that we have to get reinvigorated. Go out there, sell. Let's build relationships. Let's do it. I mean, so it's not that easy. It's almost like a flip in a mindset, right? I mean, what do we do to get them to wake up again?
Yeah, for sure. And Peter, and I know Nicole, you're on here as well. You guys have been around the credit union space for what? Over a decade, 20 years, 30 years. I don't want to date anybody else.
I just started last year. Okay.
So again, you've seen the roller coaster. We've all seen it. So 2020, 2021, we historically had the best years that we've ever had.
Yep.
And I kind of make the joke as a coach when I was calling on teams and I was calling on leaders, like we're too busy being fabulous. We had so much incoming demand that we can't slow down to get coaching because we don't have the time, right? And all of a sudden it gets hard and we have budget crunches. And so I understand all this as a coach. And so one of my favorite expressions is tough times don't last, tough people do. So at the end of the day, Peter, what we're talking about here for your team as leaders is, do they truly see their work as a vocation, their voice or calling in life? Now, I'm not saying mortgage banking has to be the vehicle, which it kind of is here in our case, but it really is the talents that you have on your team. And so what are their unique abilities? What are their talents? And so if they can truly see their work as their vocation versus an occupation. Occupation is something that occupies my time. I receive a paycheck for, right? I punch in at 7:30 and I'm leaving the office at 4:00. And good luck getting a hold of me. And so I think that's the first place that everybody needs to start is, do you truly see your work as a vocation, your voice or calling, or do you see it as an occupation, that's something that occupies your time? Because during tough, challenging times, it is going to be incredibly difficult to motivate and inspire your people to go out there and take more action. And Peter, I think one of the first things that we need to do as leaders is just define those words, because I use the word motivate and inspire. They're two different things, right? Motivate means to move, to take action. And a lot of times we have to motivate our people to go take more action. Now, inspiration is when an idea has a hold of you and you go out there and you can see it in your own mind and you grab a hold of that thing and you're going. So a lot of us, it's easy to work when we're inspired, right? You wake up at 7:30, you get that cup of coffee, you get that pre-workout and whatever it is that you do, whatever the caffeine that you take, and you get all juiced up, right? And then what happens? You hit that noon, that lull, that 2:00 lull, whatever it is. And it's incredibly hard to work when you're not motivated. And I think that is the challenge, right? Is we there's like no end in sight. We feel like, like obviously the summer months is typically when it gets busier. We hope that's the case for all of you out there. But I think that's the challenge is when you don't see the end in mind, when you don't see that finish line, it's incredibly hard to stay motivated or stay inspired within that process. Would you agree, Peter and Nicole?
No, I agree. It's but whether you are an optimist or not, you can easily view this as a glass is half full, right? I think we're right now. Here we are. We'll say partially through 2023, and things are already better than what they were in 2022, right? At least in my opinion, right? At least in my opinion, things are starting to head down that right path. But it's still. There's fewer loans out there, right? Refinances aren't falling on your laps. In many cases, especially with credit unions, home equity tends to be a big line of business for these credit unions. So it's not, purchases or that are larger loan amounts. And sometimes, thinking like a loan officer, it's tough for them to stay motivated when, we'll say the products or the what they want is just not there, right? Or they're really having to go the extra mile to compete against someone else that, and then again, credit unions, we are multiple channels, right? With multiple lines of business. It's tough. It is tough. We talk about it all the time at our workshops, our conferences. It's tough going up against a competitor that's monoline, right? That's only focused on technology, right? But I'll say this when it comes to relationship building, and this is what I've always been confused about. When it comes to relationship building, there's no better organization than a credit union, right? Yep. I mean, that's what we're really founded on: our community lending, relationship building with our members, so we can build the relationship with our members for life, but we struggle when it comes to realtors. Nicole, thoughts, any, questions for Bruce? You've what, 13, 14 years in the credit union industry?
Yep.
You have to have some insight on this.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think that, we have a couple advantages in the credit union space. When times are tough, when things are unstable, people tend to flock to their credit union. They trust them. It's just, as credit union employees, we have the luxury of having a lot of inbound leads. We have a healthy pipeline, but like you were saying, Peter, when things dry up, we really have to do a better job of pivoting, getting out there, building those realtor relationships and getting our boots on the ground. Bruce, the question that I have for you is, how do you motivate your teams and everything to go out there and build those relationships when that's not typically the norm for some of us?
Yeah, both of you touched on some interesting things here. Just talking about credit unions, I believe credit unions right now have more opportunities than ever before. I truly do believe that. I believe
Bruce,
that you guys,
you and I have talked about this. Next 3 to 5 years can be the years of the credit union.
For sure. You guys have so many opportunities that are out there, and companies are folding. Companies are going under. Companies are selling. They are being absorbed. And, at the end of the day, most credit unions, not getting into the bottom lines and, the P&L and all that kind of stuff, but most credit unions are very liquid. They're set to go out there and make some moves. And I do think that's where getting the right people on the right team, right? Like going out there, and if you don't already have the right people, it's going out there recruiting the right people. But it really is the fact of the matter of, Nicole, like you're saying, it's that referral partner relationship, the realtor relationships. And I just think we put so much pressure. And Peter, we talked about this on stage. My good friend, Nicole Poole, she's like, the 4-letter word for sales or whatever it is, like in the credit union space that we don't talk about, right? Like sales is important. Like whether you want to look at it that way or not, the reality is when we go out there and we're going after referral partners, realtors specifically. And realtors, a lot of times, they kind of have a preconceived notion about what credit unions are. Are you just bankers? You're clocking, you're punching at 7:00, you're leaving at 5:00. And so part of our process for coaching people and inspiring people is helping them overcome that. At the end of the day, confidence is the one thing that affects everything. I think we would all agree with that. And we have to help our people build, maintain, protect their confidence. One of the areas that I focus on the most with my coaching program is what I call your opportunity statement. Habit number 1, turn your pitch or turn your beliefs into money. And I think that's the first place that I would have all of you as leaders start with your people, with your team, is number 1, help them individually find, package, and sell their special. What do I get from you individually that I can't get from anybody else based on your unique past and your struggles and your experiences and your mentors and your education? Because once you can really help your individual producers figure that part out, now they're going to have more confidence to go out there to the networking events. Now they're going to have more confidence calling on the potential referral partners. Because at the end of the day, the credit union products that you do have that you can offer are very unique. But it starts by really empowering the individual salesperson or loan officer. Again, I know you guys hate the word salespeople, but at the end of the day, like when you're talking about loan officers, if they're expected to go out there and prospect and call on new business and go out there and develop relationships and network, they have to see themselves as, quote unquote, I call them solopreneurs, right? You have to see yourself as an individual producer that's going out there and you're growing your individual brand. And in conjunction with doing that, you're growing the credit union brand. And when we can marry those two things together, man, that's when it's empowering. And that's what I see those $100+ million producers that I see at the credit union space is they don't just see themselves as, again, just sit behind the desk, clock in, clock out. They're out there truly nurturing their relationships. They're out there being community leaders. They're doing videos like these that add value. They're educating their members, right? They're educating their potential referral partners. And so I think that's one of the biggest things that I would love for any individual producer is how are you becoming more attractive? To attract other people, we must become more attractive. And your credit unions are very attractive because people know who you are and they know your value systems. But for you individually, we have to help you go out there and empower the confidence. So Nicole, I think that's one of the biggest parts of this is just sitting down with the individual producers themselves and helping empower them, helping them find, package, and sell their individual special. Because now once I have that, I can go out there and I'm not competing on the commodity anymore, right? I really am going out there and truly developing the relationships, right? Would you rather know the first 15 or 30 seconds if somebody fits your filter based on having a conversation with them versus chasing all the wrong people? Because let's face it, realtors are exhausting. I can say this, I coach hundreds, if not thousands of them every single year. They are the most exhausting group in the housing, banking, insurance space, okay? And so when you're out there chasing the wrong people and they're entitled and they're this and that, the individual salesperson has to understand what their unique value proposition is, what their unique belief proposition is. What do I get from them that I can't get from anybody else? So that's always where I want to start with every individual person. And Peter, you've heard me speak enough to know that, but so many people struggle with that piece of it of like, I don't know what makes me different or unique, or I don't know what really value that I bring to the equation. And now because of that, it's going to be incredibly hard to market your message, whether that's calling on new business or whether that's going out there and networking with potential new business.
So I want to come back to something you said, right? We don't like, credit unions don't like calling them salespeople, right? It's interesting, right? So on our podcast, one of our guests was a credit union loan officer, Brent Green, arguably one of the best and well-known loan officers in the credit union space across the country. The guy's everywhere. I would be interested to see what he thinks of himself. I'm sure it's part of it. He's a relationship builder. I'm sure part of it, he brings people together. I'd be interested if he views himself as a salesperson. Again, arguably one of the best loan officers in our industry, not just the credit union space. So why do you think, and Nicole, I welcome you to chime in with this as well, since you have that experience in the credit union space. Why is it do you think that we have that heartburn about being called a loan officer, a salesperson? Thinking about my time, leading a mortgage division for a credit union, my loan officers were salespeople. They were expected to go build business, get business. They were expected to go out there, build relationships, sell the credit union, the benefits that we offer, not just mortgages, all encompassing benefits that we had. So why is it that you believe that you said that we have a heartburn or we have concerns or we're calling them salespeople?
I'll let Nicole. Nicole, you take that one. Yeah,
of course. I think that, the word sales has a stigma to it, and it depends on the industry that you're in. So when you think of sales in a credit union, you think of somebody trying to upsell or talk you into something that maybe you don't need or you don't want. So the credit union, they're looking to help their members as much as possible, but you can still be a sales professional and help them and maximize, the products that they have with you. And I think that they're absolutely salespeople. And, I do understand why maybe credit unions tend to shy away from that a little bit. But when I was in the credit union space, absolutely, it's sales. You have goals, and it all ties back to how much can we help the person in front of us. Going back to, my time in the credit unions and now my time at HomeBot, something that I realized when I worked at Community Choice Credit Union in Des Moines. And when I got into consumer lending, I did definitely realize that in a sales environment, I particularly had to work for a company whose values aligned with my own. Because if I am expected to push sales that aren't good for my members, that's not going to work for me. And I was lucky enough to be at a credit union, and they do align for the most part. I mean, I've only worked for a couple credit unions over the last 14 years, and both Community Choice and Canvas were just shining examples of that value prop. And, I do understand what you're saying, Dr. Bruce, because sales sometimes cannot not be put in the best light, but with a credit union, it's different. Definitely.
Thinking about, salespeople and thinking about, the stigma surrounding that, leaning into what you said. I mean, is this credit unions tend to do this a lot? I think a lot of people do it, right? Thinking back to, 2007, 2008, Great Recession, the housing crisis. I'm sure, a lot of people have watched The Big Short. If you haven't watched The Big Short, it's a great movie, right? There's this one scene where, Steve Carell's character is down in, I want to say Florida, and he's talking to loan officers who are out there partying lots of money, right? He's like, well, how long have you been in the industry? They're like, oh, I just got into it last week. He's like, what did you do before? I was a car salesman, right? And that's like that old sense of it, that snake oil salesperson is I guess, are we constantly as a loan officer, are loan officers constantly pretty much haunted by that idea, the skeletons in our closet from years gone by that we just haven't gotten past it? Is that it? Or am I missing something, Dr. Bruce?
I just think it's, and I was talking to a good friend of mine. He's in the credit union space just this week, not to date this, Peter, like when we were launching this thing. But anyways, I was just talking to my friend that's in the credit union space, and he called it, you mentioned the Great Recession. He's calling it the Great Reset. Like right now is a great time to just kind of reset when it comes to the mortgage banking space. And that's part of the reset that he's trying to make within his credit union is exactly that. It's like, hey, let's just reset. And I don't care what you call it. You call it, I'm a loan officer, I'm a salesperson, like whatever bow you want to put on it. At the end of the day, we're all kind of doing the same thing. Again, regardless of industry as well. Right? Like prospecting simply means there's a group of people out there right now who need or want your services. And my mindset is if I think I can help them just as good, if not more than anybody else out there, then it's my duty to go out there and follow up with them, right? And have that conversation with them. And then from there, you do need to follow up consistently. Talking about real estate agents. If you're a loan officer at a credit union and you're out there and you're calling on a potential referral partner real estate agent and they're being called on by 5, 10, 15, 20 people, because that's what's happening right now. Let's face it. It's 2020, 2021. You guys neglected a lot of your referral partner relationships because you had so much incoming demand for your services, refis, all that kind of stuff. And now all of a sudden, what are all the coaches telling people to do? Well, you got to get back and focus on your purchase business and you got to call on real estate agents. So now everybody's calling on the real estate agents. And I kind of make the joke for my real estate agent friends, like, if you ever want to not go hungry, then become a real estate agent because you'll always be fed at least because you always have lunches by loan officers. But the point there being is I don't care what you call it. Sales, I'm a loan officer. I'm trying to think of the old Keller Williams adage that they used to call people, like, it doesn't matter what you call it. We're all doing the same things. Like you're presenting an idea or an offer to other people that need or want your services. You're trying to stay in front of those people. You're trying to add value. The most overused, underdone thing in the sales world, by the way, is I want to add value. And then I'm like, well, how are you adding value to their lives? There's not really a plan behind it. So Peter, like you touched on a touchy topic here for me as a business coach, because I don't care what you call it. You can call
that's my job. That's my job.
I mean, you can call it whatever you want to call it. Sales, again, like I get it. You think about car sales, or you think about insurance sales, or you think about your financial advisor, or you think about the upsells, like Nicole said earlier. I don't care what you call it. The reality is there are people right now who need or want your services. And it's your job, your duty to get your services in front of the right people. To me, that's prospecting 101. Okay. And so if I can just stay focused on the helpless mindset behind that, or the fight club, like once I've met with you and you fit my filter as somebody I want to do business with, then it's my duty to consistently fight to earn the business, not in a malicious way, not in a restraining order way, not in any of that kind of a way, but it truly is like, it's the end game of like, hey, every 90 days, I'm going to have new people that come into my life. I present the offer to them. And then it's going to be on me to consistently follow up and engage with them. So I know I scare away. I was talking to Liz Millian a couple of days ago, again, at the Elevations Credit Union.
Good person. Oh, great person. Great credit union person. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Awesome. And she just kind of gave me feedback. She's like, listen, as from a leader or management standpoint, are you open to feedback? And I'm always open to feedback. And she said, listen, you're going to scare away a lot of credit unions with your message. So you do need to kind of hone it back a little bit. And so I took that. I'm like, you are right, for sure. So I'm not disagreeing with that at all, but it's just, but I also think that a lot of people need to be a little bit tougher in the sales cycle, or be a little bit more aggressive and not just order takers, and truly go out there, because you guys have such incredible value that you do bring, and services and products that you do have. So a lot of people just need to get, again, more confident and their ability to go out there and articulate their message, and be more confident in getting in front of the right people, and be more confident in their follow-up process, and even taking the pressure off of like what prospecting simply is. Like, I think prospecting is one of those words that we hear when we immediately get clammy hand, we get nervous. Like, oh my gosh, I got a cold call. And it's not all those kinds of things if we present it the right way to our people. So I think that's another part for leaders that are out there. It really is the mindset, the presentation of what is prospecting, what is follow-up, what is client onboarding, what is marketing, right? And maybe pivoting the way that we see this, the great reset, on how salespeople in the credit union space see those words, and kind of help them pivot to where they think about, oh my gosh, that's a car salesman, or whatever that might be.
Right. Okay. So, a couple things. So, a quick takeaway from what you said. It's okay to talk about Fight Club. That's we're going to break rule number 1 of Fight Club. Actually, I guess, and rule number 2 of Fight Club. We're going to talk about Fight Club. But 2, I kind of thinking about, but what you talked about with Liz. The truth sometimes hurts, right? And one thing that you are is brutally honest about what you need to do, and sometimes people just don't want to hear that, right? But anyways, I have to take a step back. We are at time. I know that we could talk about this probably for another half hour, probably another for an hour. Dr. Bruce, I've seen you talk about this for hours at a time, but we have to take a pause. We have to transition,
especially when Peter gets some tequila in me, right? Peter, like that's when you really got to talk about this time.
It's like he doesn't stop. He just doesn't stop. But hey, I guess that's why you are Dr. Bruce, and you're here for a reason, right? So, but do me a favor, just real quick. We have to transition. Any final thoughts? Give me quick final thoughts if you can.
Final thoughts. Again, everybody's focused on the purchase business right now. And developing relationships with their potential referral partners. And I just think about it is there's 25, typically in every market, there's 25 really good producing real estate agents that are out there. So figure out who those 25 are. And so this is a tangible coaching thing for me. This is an exercise that I have my people do, right? So who are those 25 people? And then over the next 90 days, what are you going to do to consistently stay involved in their lives, but not chase them? Again, like the other part of this is figure out who fits your filter of the exact type of people that you want to do business with. So for you leaders out there, a lot of this does come down to, again, helping your individual people become more confident in their pitch, become more confident in why they do what they do. They didn't just fall into the industry, even though everybody did kind of just fall into the industry, right? Like there's nothing sexy about that though, is we have to help them find, package, and sell that individual special. But the reality is, my last message, Peter, we're at time. I could talk for days and days and days about coaching and anything to do with motivation, inspiration. Is again, tough times don't last, tough people do. Do you truly see this vehicle, the mortgage banking space, working at the credit union as a way for you to go out there and really help other people? And I know that's cliche. I know that's whatever you want it to make it out to be. But like at the end of the day, it's easy to get jaded in these industries, right? It's easy to get jaded for me as a coach. So we have to stay focused on, I am adding value. And that is the helpless mindset. And that is the helpless mindset that I want for credit unions. And that helps alleviate the pressure of prospecting, or I'm following up just to get a deal or whatever that might be, right? But tough times don't last. Tough people do. See your work as your vocation rather than an occupation.
Yeah, that's right. You took the words out of my mouth. Tough times make tough people, right?
Yep.
All right, perfect. All right, well, it's now time to transition to one of my favorite parts of this podcast. A little segment where we do some things that are off topic. It could be fun facts. It could be trivia. It could be interesting statistics. It could even be dad jokes. Now, Nicole, you were a little disappointed that we're not doing bad dad jokes today, and instead we're doing just interesting fun facts. So
yeah, and that's fine. I'm no good at trivia.
No. This is not. No. This is great. I want to. So you came prepared, which I appreciate. You came prepared with 3 bad dad jokes. So do me a favor. I don't want to disappoint you. I want you feeling as though you came to this podcast and you're like, you know what? That was an awesome podcast. He let me do a bad dad joke. So I'm going to let you do a bad dad joke. So do me a favor. Before we go to fun facts, give us that bad dad joke.
All right. Why does Dr. Bruce take an extra pair of socks with him when he goes golfing?
Oh, I love this. I don't know.
So there's something about a hole in one.
Ah, he got it. In case he gets a hole in one.
I didn't know that one.
I'm happy. Perfect. We can move on. All
right, perfect. All right.
Now I ruined your dad joke because I answered it right.
Yeah, you did ruin it. It's fine. We can keep going.
That's right.
Because there's a hole in one. Is that it?
Yeah.
That's right. Hole in one. I love it. All right. So this, so we are recording this podcast here in January. It's going to be aired in May, and that's fine. So seeing how summer is just a few days, few weeks away, I thought it appropriate to do just some interesting, fun facts about summer, the season, the time frame that we go to the beach, have parties, cookouts, etc. So here, just fun facts, just for you to share. But there's no right or wrong. It's not trying to stump Dr. Bruce or stump Nicole, but just some interesting facts for you about summer. Did you know that Americans eat 15 pounds? So each individual American on average eats about 15 pounds of watermelon every single year. I found that fascinating. I was like, that's a lot, but I guess it's all water weight, right? And, here's an interesting fun fact about that, of kind of carrying over after that. I didn't know this, but did you know that there are over 300 varieties of watermelon?
300?
300 varieties of watermelon.
I did not know that. I thought there was like maybe 5.
I was going to say 2. You have seeds and seedless.
That's crazy.
300. Here's another fun fact for summer.
I can't even tell you the last time I had watermelon, Peter. So.
Oh, watermelon's great.
See, now I want some watermelon.
Yeah. Now it sounds really good.
Yeah, right. Nothing better. I'm pretty sure I have like a watermelon seltzer in my garage somewhere. I'll go hunt that down. All right. So here's another fun fact. The Eiffel Tower. The Eiffel Tower. Did you know that in the summer, the Eiffel Tower actually gets taller by 6 inches?
I don't think I believe that.
Yeah.
It's all about the expansion of the metals. The heat warms up and it just expands. It's same exact principle, I guess, for like highways and bridges. They expand and contrast. So
I would love to know who's
Eiffel Tower
measuring
gets 6
this,
inches
though.
taller.
Like, they have like a starting point. Like, all right, summer's starting, and they go like put a little thing up there, and then they see if it grows.
That's a good question. I don't know, but 6, that's kind of interesting. You have this really tall building all out of metal. It gets taller in the summer, which I found very interesting.
I'm not questioning the validity of these studies, Peter. The PhD in me, those, I'm kind of like, how are they actually measuring these things?
Science. I don't know, man. Science.
Science.
It's just science.
It works 60% of the time, 100% of the time. It's science.
That's right. 80%
of stats are made up on the spot. Sorry. Go on.
No, that's perfect. See, I'm throwing out random stats for you, and who knows if this is made up or if it's real, but I don't know. but just for the sake of time, let's do just 2 more. Just fun facts. So here's a good one. Over the span of 1 year, right, just during this summer, actually, Americans eat enough hot dogs. Americans eat enough hot dogs on July 4th. All Americans combined eat enough hot dogs on July 4th the stretch from Washington, D.C. to Los Angeles 5 times.
5 times.
That's a lot of footlongs. That is a serious amount of footlongs.
Nicole said disturbing. I was going to say disgusting, but either way.
Yeah.
You don't like hot dogs? You don't like hot dogs?
I've been through, I could go back to my growing up in a trailer conversations that we didn't use buns. We just cooked them and then we had to use ketchup only. And it got to a point where I was like nauseated by hot dogs. So no, I do not eat hot dogs anymore. I don't mind brats though. Brats are good. But hot dogs, right. There's just something about a hot dog. I will say occasionally at a ball game, I will eat a hot dog.
Agreed.
All beef. Has to be all beef. Has to be all beef. Hebrew Nationals. Where you're not, I'm supposed to say this. I'm sorry. I listed a brand. We are not sponsored by Hebrew National. We have no affiliation with Hebrew National. They're just really good hot dogs, which I like. Here's a second interesting part of that one hot dog related fun fact. Between Memorial Day and Labor Day. So we'll say what's that, about 3 months, right? 3 months or so? Three-ish months.
June, July, August. Yep.
This is interesting. There are 818 hot dogs eaten every second.
That's alarming. That's
every second. 7 billion hot dogs. 7 billion hot dogs.
If you take away that hot dog eating contest on July 4th, does that number go down a lot or no? Is that an outlier?
Oh, good question. Good question. All right. Last one. Last fun fact for you. All right, here it is.
Bring us home, Peter. What do you got?
Are we done with the hot dog set, Peter?
We are done with the hot dog set. I think 2 hot dog based trivia or fun fact questions is enough for any podcast.
Yep.
All right. So in 1816, the year 1816, the planet Earth did not have a summer. And I'm going to expand on that. So in the year 1816, the planet Earth, our planet, didn't experience a summer. I found this so interesting. So apparently, it's known as the year without a summer. You can look it up. I'm gonna butcher this, but there was a massive volcano eruption in Indonesia, that put so much dust, ash, and sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere that it completely screwed up the Earth's atmosphere. To the point where there are parts of the world that got, we'll say the northern hemisphere, which we would normally experience summer-like conditions. We got snow in June, and there was frost reported in August. And so it was known as the year without a summer. I found that so interesting. Now that's
I never heard that. That's cool.
So,
fact, Bill.
Peter, I'm going to put you on the spot, and Nicole. So when you think about summer, like what's the one song that comes to mind immediately for either of you?
Kid Rock for some reason. Why is that? I don't know. Peter, you go.
Oh man, I don't even know, Dr. Bruce. If it's not, I mean, I have 3 young kids, so if it's not something like Disney related or Cocomelon, I mean, I couldn't even tell you the last time I listened to actual music in the car, so I couldn't even tell.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking going all the way back to like even childhood. So Nicole, like I think Kid Rock's a good one. I think he does a lot of like 4th of July type stuff.
Summertime songs.
Yeah, a lot of his music's based on from Michigan, and that's the only time you can come out of your shanties in Michigan. I'm from Michigan myself, so you got about 3 months of.
So you can say that.
There. Yeah, so I think that's a good one.
Well, I mean, or even like Tom Petty, was it American Girl? I mean, who doesn't love that one, right? That has like a.
Can you sing it for us?
That is a summertime.
Just kind of refresh my memory, Peter.
No, thank you. I'm okay by that. I'm
thinking like summer loving. It happens so fast.
Peter's like, and we're out of time. Okay.
Yeah, it's like, I want people to listen to our podcast going forward, Dr. Bruce. So I am not going to.
I think what you're most worried about is, you know how if you put these on YouTube, you get like copyright infringements because your voice will sound so much like Tom Petty that they'll flag the podcast. So I
know, right? I mean, I apparently in the wrong industry if I could sing like that. But anyways, it's time to wrap up. Dr. Bruce, I appreciate your insight into today's subject. And Nicole, I appreciate you being on here, being our co-host for today. I truly appreciate it, both of you, and your time and everything you do for our industry. And of course, to HomeBot, I thank you so much for sponsoring today's podcast. Without you and support of affiliates like you, we would not be able to bring such great content to our members. And to everyone listening, we hope you enjoyed today's podcast. Thank you for your time today. Everyone, be well, and we'll see you next time. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time at the Acuma On Point podcast. If not already, be sure to subscribe and give us a 5-star rating. For more great episodes and information, be sure to visit us online at acuma.org. And to get the latest updates, head over to our LinkedIn page.